Welcome everybody. We're going to discuss a few topics of importance today. One, I don't know if any of y'all know, 4 of my videos were deleted by YouTube the other day. Had another round of complete censorship go through, and of course it's titled under the hate speech. We're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about a couple new bills coming through, and we're going to talk about how to recognize patterns. Things of that nature. It's really going to be a review study, but let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, anoint the messenger today. Let my will decrease and yours increase. Let your word not return unto thee void, but let it accomplish that which you please and prosper in the thing where you sent it. In your precious Son's name we pray these things. Alright, so listen. We're ambassadors of righteousness, right? That's what we are. How can you be an ambassador of righteousness if your light doesn't shine in the darkness? We are called out from this world. Let's get this thing rolling, folks. Discussion. I had every intention of this week of returning to the codes of man and continuing to uncover the deception used to have us volunteer into our slavery. But alas, there are some things that I must show men and women that could assist in raising others from the dead. And what do I mean from the dead? Hey, listen, folks, if you haven't found something worth dying for, a concept, something in life worth dying for, guess what? You've never lived. And that's a fact. If you haven't found something with enough meaning to start actually to give your life for it, you're not living yet. I really don't know when we will hit critical mass, but we only have 2 years until Agenda 2021. And soul, that's what absolutely means. Is of soul, lutely. The debauchery continues, as does the enemy's will to silence any and all opposition. I have zero doubts as to what will continue happening here in the USA Inc. Each drop in morality, each generation of children that come out of the public indoctrination centers have less and less morality. We see this. We witness it within our own families. We see this over and over again. And what does morality do when you lose morality? It allows you to be captive. Why? Because you have no morals. You have no love of the truth. Things that matter. Let's start off with James 4. James 4:1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members? Well, let's break that down into a speech that everybody can understand, right? Your desire for pleasures. What happened there? Your desire for pleasures, money, benefits, privileges of the world government keeps up your lust. Your privileges. You lust and have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet you have not because you ask not. We covet instead of being content. We happily kill the unborn and pay our taxes to fund this death machine. What do I mean by that? How many people die at the hands of U.S.-made weapons all across this world? How many of ISIS fighters in the Middle East are armed with U.S. weaponry? Every single one of them. Who's the real enemy of mankind? Well, here's the question, folks. We're answering it over and over again. The rulers of the world, the governors of the world, are all in what? Unison with each other. It's only the people, the men and women, that are the enemies of this system. They're all in unison. You ask and receive not, because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lust. You ask the world instead of Yahuwah, your Father. I'm breaking this down, okay? Just making it easy for you. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Your desire for pleasure, money, benefits, privileges. Come not they hence, even of your own lust, that war in your members? Let's go to James 4:4. You adulterers and adulteresses, know you not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahuwah? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahuwah. Well, let's answer that, folks. You apostate children, your friendship, your relationship, your citizenship, your persona, your residence, who choose to domicile with the world are enemies of Yahuwah. Now, what I'm trying to do here, folks, is show you that there's a clear distinction here. What modern men and women don't know how to do is read English and actually comprehend it. reading comprehension is at horrible levels. And why is that? Well, we're not being taught how to actually read anymore. Black's Law, sixth edition, domicile. We're gonna define this. Now, I'm gonna tell you, folks, I had planned completely on going into man's codes against us again this week, but after being having my videos deleted and a bunch more. Now, understand, I'm gonna show you some stuff we're gonna get on the internet. It's not just mine. There's a word right now that when it is uttered on your YouTube channel or anywhere on social media, that you're instantly silenced. What's that word? Anybody? Ah, there we go. All right, there we go. It's the word Jew. Domicile is the underhanded implied consent. Remember, express is you know exactly what you've contracted to. Implied means that it's presumed, okay? Consent of a private man or woman who are now subjugated to taxpayer status under the authority of the District of Columbia. Well, if you were asked where's your domicile, what would you say it would be? Come on, the truth. What would you say?
Well, you usually say your domicile is where you reside, but you're talking about government is DC.
Yeah. There you go, Mama. I'm so proud of you. That's right. That's right. Let's read. Domicile may be deemed to be of three sorts: domicile by birth, domicile by choice, and domicile by operation of the law. Now, if I ask you where your domicile is, you're going to tell me I live on such and such street in such and such town, and that's what you're going to tell me. That's my domicile. No, that's not right. The first is the common case of the place of birth, domicile originus. The second is that which is voluntary, acquired by party. Ho! Remember, I keep telling you it's voluntarily, albeit it's done by fraud. Propria matua. The last is consequential, as that of the wife arising from marriage. All right, let's go into the next part. The established, fixed, permanent, or ordinary dwelling place or place of residence of a person, as distinguished from his temporary and transient, though actual, place of residence. It is his legal residence, as distinguished from his temporary place of abode. Now understand this, folks. My domicile is not with this District of Columbia. Why not? Because I'm not friends with the world. And we're going to get into this as we move forward. But I want to throw this in there just because of James 4:4. All right, James 4:8. Draw nigh to Yahuwah, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify you hearts, you double-minded. Now, see, this is one of the hardest things that we can do that we struggle with in this society is the double mind, right? Well, what does everybody else think about me? What about this? Well, all these things that we're taught, we have to fit into a subgroup, right? You have to fit somewhere in order to be accepted. And then when we're on the outside of it, we feel shunned. Well, who cares what anybody thinks about you, folks? Who cares? Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter turn to mourning and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of Yahuwah, and he shall lift you up. Speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speak evil is of his brother, and judgeth his brother, speaketh evil of the law. Why does he speak evil of the law? Who's the one judge? Who's the one lawgiver? That's right. What do we live under? Statutes and codes. I'm going to prove it again today. I'm going to continue proving this until people actually grasp the concept. Once we grasp the concept in this study group, we're going to move forward. I've got a meeting coming up with 2 people in this room this week that I'm going to start my process of moving forward. And why do I want to move forward, folks? And I'm going to show you again why. This system is coming to an end. Every single time throughout history, every time a society gets to the point where you have no men left to defend the territory, it's over. And what do you have now? You don't have alpha males, you got a bunch of beta males. Okay? It's the end of an age. Alright. And judgeth the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. Well, how can you do that? There's one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Who art thou that judgest another? It's just that simple. Is that hard to understand? Alright, let's keep on going, guys. The throne of iniquity, Psalm 94. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? Well, let's break that down. Shall the governments of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which devise evil by their codes or their laws? Is it understood? They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. We're going to go further in this. But Yahuwah is my defense, and my Elohim is the rock of my refuge. And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, Yahuwah shall cut them off. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? Remember, the kingdoms of this world, they unite. Do you not understand this yet? Look, folks, let me ask a simple question. When we say we're going to war in Iran, or we're going to war somewhere else, all we do is go put in a puppet government and steal the resources. Daniel, the book of Daniel, you divide and conquer my land for gain. Okay? Alright. And now we see the result. This is the result of their kingdom. We've got demons going to, and y'all have seen this. We're going to roll through this quickly. The gender revolution. We got demons at Drag Queen Story Hour. We got abortion on demand without apology. I'm going to go through these kind of quick, guys. We got mandatory vaccine checkpoints. Listen, folks, don't you think it's kind of funny? Listen to this. You have 5 cases of the measles in a state, and all of a sudden a national emergency breaks out. What's so bad about measles? Mama, did you have anybody die from measles when you were a kid? Betty, did y'all die from chicken pox? Anybody here? I had chicken pox. But no, and you're starting to see it all across the country now. Mom and dads don't vaccinate their children the way they're told to. They just come and take the children. Well, who's the real parent? The state is. Why? Because you volunteered that. We'll get into that again another day. And here's your children. So we hand them our phones. All you have to do is look up in your skies. We have the Gwyn Towers, we got the Ritalin, we got the fluoride, we got the aluminum everything, we got the smart meter, and of course we got the mercury in the vaccines, and wonder why our kids all of a sudden, listen folks, let me tell you something. If we got a war on something, alright, you go back just 10 years, 15 years ago, it was 1 in 75,000 kids that had autism. We're pushing 1 in 50 now. We're going to 1 in 2. What's the problem? Why is the war on measles and not autism? People live through measles. Once the brain's injured, what happens? It's a struggle to get it back. She's okay. No, she's okay. But of course, nobody knows about this stuff. But I'm going to show you again from an article on the magazine, Parents Magazine. What have I been telling y'all for the last 3 years about cell phones? They're dangerous. Why are they dangerous? Because RF frequency, which is radio frequency, Michael, Jesse, you're going to know this. When you were around heavy RF, y'all had to wear gear. Why? Because radio frequency causes what?
Well, it's just radiation.
Yeah, it's radiation, which causes what?
Cancer.
Cancer! That's what RF is, radio frequency is. It's cancer causing. But instead of, they already knew in the 40s and 50s that it caused cancer. What did they do first when they come out with the smartphones? Before they give everybody the warnings. What did they do? They allowed you to get addicted first. So now it doesn't matter that they come out with the warnings. Men and women will not put the cell phones down. And here it is right here. This is from the Parents Healthy Happy Kids, How Wireless Devices Can Be Dangerous for Your Family. I just took a picture of it. Handing your smartphone to your child can be a sanity saver. Really, this is what the problem is, right? We've got children raising children. Nobody wants to spend time. The babysitter is the device. safety on a long car ride or when you're in lunch line in the supermarket, but is letting him play monkey preschool lunchbox or temple run or even Skyping with grandma putting him in danger. Wireless devices use radio waves, a form of electromagnetic radiation. Oh, wow. Guess what? Brandon just so happened to know what he was talking about 3 years ago. Why? Because I saw it. To communicate with cell towers through their antenna. So listen, folks, waves work just like everything else. A wave that is strong enough to pass through your body, even though you don't feel it physically, is messing with what? Your cells, your DNA, the vitality of your body. Although the radio frequency energy they give off is relatively weak and has long been presumed to be safe, Now see, no, it's not. So increasing evidence suggests that it may pose health hazards. Oh, but watch the doubles talk now. They said long thought to be safe, but in 2011, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, an arm of the WHO organization, classified RF energy as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Well, what happened? We're 8 years in between this article, and listen, folks, in the 1940s and 50s, they knew this. The RF, listen, when does a child's brain fully develop? Anybody? Seven. Seven is the complete, somewhere around 7, maybe 8, some children. During that time frame, the child is at its most vulnerable point to damage. Why? Their skull's not thick enough. So the RF frequencies just go right through the skull, right into the brain. And there's other things to be worried about too. While experts are concerned about all wireless devices, cell phones carry the biggest potential danger because people tend to hold them up to their ear, close to the brain. And of course, you'll see the zombies walking just like this. It's just the way it is. All right, I just wanted to touch on that. Discussion: 5 cases of measles in a state is followed by a national state of emergency. And of course, the usual use of problem, reaction, solution. What is problem, reaction, solution, folks? What is that? That's the Hegelian dialectic, okay? They cause the problem, they get the people to react, and they have the predetermined solution in place already, okay? Just like I'm going to show you with this YouTube banning of everything else, it's problem, reaction, solution. They've already got the solution in place. They indoctrinate the masses with how dangerous measles and chickenpox are. Okay, and that's what they do. You watch news breaking alert. Bum, 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 bum. National emergency, measles outbreak. Well, measles is just measles, folks. You catch measles, it actually helps your immune system fight off all this stuff. Voila. All right, they got everybody worked up. We got to have them fixed for this measles stuff that's killing everybody. Hasn't killed anybody. New legislation is administered by and for the will of the people. Do you understand that? Who's the people? The state. But you think you're the people. Okay? Remember, Johnny Q. Public. I took a picture this week. And I want y'all to pay attention next time you get behind a cop car. What does it say on the back of that cop car on his license plate? Public. That's right. That's the public. Who's the public? The state. All right? It's just that simple to start understanding these concepts. RF radiation, it has been known to cause cancer since the 40s, but yet only after getting the entire world addicted did any warnings come out from mainstream media. Folks, I have expounded on this ad nauseum for years. If you can't muster enough testicular fortitude by now to actually change this beast system, you are part of the problem. What most men and women lack is simple. What do we lack? Discipline. Simple. We lack discipline. That's it. It's just that simple, right? No different. I'm no different. As a watchman on the wall, watchmen all over the world scream and warn over and over, but the reality is this. Here we go. This is Edward Mandell House again. The plain people of this country are inveterate and incurable hero worshippers. Lack moral fortitude, always looking for somebody else to solve your problems for you. A man with a slogan that expresses their undefined aspirations can manipulate them easily. We hold all American newspapers as isolated from the non-American world as if they had been in another planet instead of another hemisphere. It's just that simple, folks. Everybody's waiting on somebody else to do it for them. All right, so now we're going to get into the next topic, something that I found the other day. This is going to tie in here in just a second with what I've got to say about this new this House Bill HR 838. Folks, what's Donald Trump? Anybody know what Donald Trump is? What is he? He's a Gemini, right? June 14th, Gemini. What's Gemini ruled by? Mercury. Why is he always, he's the president for the boundaries, the wall? Let's see if anybody gets it. Well, Hermes is the messenger of the gods and also is the patron of boundaries, travelers, shepherds, thieves, wit, athletics, and sports, invention, and commerce in general. All right, let's go to the internet. Let's go to the internet together before I forget. A simple Google search will find that Donald Trump and the number 88 is everywhere and anywhere in the news media. Mother of Parkland victim honored at Alan Hearn's 88 blessings. Let's see. Donald Trump's personal brand licensing business has declined by 88%. And reelect why Donald Trump's endorsement by 88 generals is so dangerous. Partway through an 88-minute speech to Republicans at a black tie, it just doesn't matter. 88 million for 2020 re-election campaign. 88 generals. The elderly protesters taking on Donald Trump at 88. I don't care what you do. You just go find it. It's just this simple. What is it, folks? What is it? What is this? Week 88, real news update. 88% of Republican voters approve of his presidency. And then you just go on, Trump in 88, week 88. I don't care what you do. You'll go find 150 different stories. He had 88% of the elective, all this stuff. What is they really telling you, folks? They're showing you in signs and symbols. When are the rest of the people going to really get it? What is his temple to? What's his temple built to? His tower, Trump Tower. And we've already gone through it, folks. This is your puppet. What are they doing? They're no different than the diviners and the astrologers in the Old Testament. They're using what? Astrotheology. It's just that simple, folks. I hate to break it to people. Let's go look at this new bill. We're going to go look at it, but I'm going to break it down by the numbers and show you how the occult really works. All right. This is the HR 838, 116th Congress, 2019 to 2020. To develop a national strategy to prevent targeted violence through behavioral threat assessment and management, and for other purposes. What is this? What did that just say? We're getting into thought crime, folks. By the numbers, H and R. Each number in gematria has a value. Okay, we've gone through this. H and R is 8 and 9. 8 plus 9 is 17 equals 8. 838. 8 times 3 is 11 times 8 is 88. 116, 116th Congress. We're breaking down it all. Is the number 8. 6 plus 1 is 8. 2019 reduces to 3. 2020 is 322. So the new thought crime bill is an ode to Mercury, commerce, boundaries, and of course death. 322 is death. 88 and 88 is Mercury. That's the two pillars, okay? So let's go over here. Let's do this together. We'll get to that in a minute. See if I did this one. Now I want to pay attention here. This is the new thought crime bill coming. Do y'all see the Constitution anywhere on here? What is that? United States Code. 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 Now we're going to have a task force. Now I'm just going to break this down for y'all, this bill. We're going to have task force. I've already showed y'all the International Data Retention Center in Utah. Everything you've ever put on social media or anywhere else or even spoke near a phone is going to go into a database. All right. So now we're moving into the thought crime realm, where we're going to proactively stop you from committing a crime. It's called pre-crime. What's the next stage of this, folks? It's already instituted in China. What's the next stage? There you go. Bingo. Social credit scores. What happens in a system with social credit scores? Any and all dissenters will not have the right to what? Travel, use money, get... So the point being, why am I coming to this point where I want to leave Babylon? We have no choice, folks. Either you're going to be in accord with the beast system, and you're going to do as the beast system tells you to do, or you're going to start looking for a way out. Now, I hate to tell you, folks, but this has no rights right here to start doing all this. But of course, how did we get here? Let's go look at another one. That's another one that's in the Senate already. I just want to show y'all. That's S-265, to develop a national strategy to prevent targeted violence through behavioral threat assessment and management and for other purposes. In the sense that Congress, that incidents of targeted violence are impacting our nation frequently and indiscriminately. A collaborative, multidisciplinary, and multi-jurisdictional behavioral threat assessment and management process on a federal, state, local, and tribal level complements the development of better methods for strategically preventing targeted violence in communities, including schools. The United States has the capability, whatever, it keeps on going. I've got a couple things in here. Here's your task force. That's real sweet. And this goes on here. Members of the task force, and it goes on and on. I'm going to save all this. And it just, so what? Who's the task force? Do we get to choose who the task force is? They do. So who oversights the task force? No. Once they give it away, it's part of the executive branch. And what's the executive branch? The execution of it. How do we know that we're not in the Constitution anymore? Because they keep what? Giving the powers of Congress away. They're each supposed to balance each other. All right, let's get to one more. This is Senate Bill 788. Prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation, and for other purposes. So now I want y'all to pay attention right here, folks. We're living in such an upside-down world that our men and women in this country cannot tell the difference between a male and female. Now, I hate to break it to you, the simplicity of what you are is just as easy as to identify as anything else. Now, you can have all kind of mental issues you want in this world, and you can think you're a unicorn. If I told you right now I'm a 7'6" Chinese guy, what are you going to tell me? I'm not a 7'6" Chinese guy. It's just that simple. But now you've offended me, right? So now that you've offended me, now you can go to jail. See, this is the retardation of this process. This whole process just doesn't make any sense. It has no logic or reasoning behind it. Just because you think you're something doesn't force me to have to believe it. But let's go on down here. I want to focus on something. And now remember, everything's about commerce, guys. Everything's about commerce. So here we go. Free flow of commerce. Anything that disrupts the free flow of commerce is what? It's against the law. It is economic imperative to offer goods and services to as many consumers. So it doesn't matter if you think you're a unicorn or whatever. Now this is the part I want to focus on right here, folks, because this is where they're going to start coming down hard on. Now I want you to pay attention to me, because this is where it's going. Okay? The discredited practice known as conversion therapy is a form of discrimination that harms LGBTQ people by undermining individuals' sense of self-worth, increasing suicide ideation and substance abuse, exacerbating family conflict, and contributing to second-class status. What did it just say there? Who are they after? What's the conversion therapy that they're after, folks? Come on. Come on now.
They're trying to get people to change what they really are.
Well, the conversion therapy is the practice of using Yahushua HaMashiach and the Almighty Creator, Yahuwah, to convert them from their perverted ways. You understand that? We're going to outlaw conversion therapy using Christ. Remember, I keep telling y'all this stuff, man. Let's pay attention to where this comes from. It comes from the 14th Amendment. The equality comes from the 14th Amendment. Over and over and over again, a reference of this title to an establishment shall be construed to include an individual whose operations affect commerce. Listen, folks, do you see any Constitution in here? USC, 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 USC. You see any? Do we see any Constitution in here? No, this is United States Code, folks, and it's time for everybody to understand what system we operate in. This is not a Constitution. You're not a party to the Constitution because the Constitution is for what? It's a restriction of the states' rights. That's what the Constitution. Did you sign the Constitution? Did you sign it? It's a simple question. Did you sign it? Well, how do you become party to a compact? Because that's what the Constitution is. It's a compact. It's a contract. So how do you become a party to a contract? Come on, folks. Simple. You have to sign it. You have to sign it for it to be your compact, your Constitution.
They will tell you it's by your birthright.
No, it's not. Well, this is your birthright right here. This is the District of Columbia. There's your birthright. There's your domicile. They could tell you one thing, and then the hidden hand is doing the other. This is the truth. All right, so let's do this. YouTube just banned supremacist content, and thousands of channels are about to be removed. Why is this happening? What's the threat, folks? If I get an email from YouTube saying I'm doing hate speech now, the claim's been made against me, but the only thing that was put in there was hate speech. That would mean I'd have to be telling lies, right? What's the problem with a world living in lies? The truth is an ugly sight. So we're going into that era where all truth is going to be banned. And I want to speak about this a little bit more in a little while. I also want to put this in y'all. I'll do that in a minute. I'll do that. It's time to start calling this what it is. And everybody's got Facebook in here, and they'll see this stuff, right? You'll see all the little 9, 10-year-old boys at these LGBTQ parades dancing around and twerking it and everything else. It's all over Facebook. Joy, you showed me 2 of them the other day. What is it, folks? What is it really?
Distorted reality.
What's it called when you hypersexualize a child?
Pedophilia.
That's right. That's what it's called. And it's time we start calling it for what it is. Hypersexualization of children is pedophilia. And this, listen, I told my grandma this, and my papa was still alive when I said this. This has been 6 years ago, sitting at your table in your kitchen table, and I told you 6 years ago. I said the next thing they're going for is pedophilia. They're going to legalize it. And here we are, folks, and it's coming. It is coming down the pipeline. What's wrong with when you allow perversion into your society? What happens? The floodgates are open. It never stops. All right. So let's get back to the study. I just wanted to focus on some of this stuff. Really, what we did today was a critical thinking. Why are we doing the critical thinking? Why?
To actually get you thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because what I notice is everybody goes back to doing whatever they normally do, like nothing's changing in this world. Folks, snap out of it. We can sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya every day, but the world is changing around you. We will now go spend some time on the internet together. We did that. We're going to do some critical thinking. I haven't done it in a while. Hey, listen, folks, why do you think I'm so dead level set on researching this law and researching? Now, if I ever find the complete way out or not, that'll be Yahuwah's will, not my own. But I have no doubt that he's left his protection on those who truly seek him. And I have no doubt there will be another Exodus. There will be another joining of the men and women of Yahuwah. Now, who's going to be ready for that when it's time to pack up and leave? Folks, it's coming. Well, I shouldn't even say it's coming. It's here. Your 1984 is here. Well, I had hoped to not focus on these issues any longer, but you know, sometimes you just got to do this. And why do I have to keep doing this, folks? I got on Twitter the other day, and I was reading that HR 838, and I don't even get on Twitter much anymore. And what did I see? Lo and behold, men and women begging for either Trump to save them or somebody else on the Democratic side. It doesn't matter. Like there's any difference between the two. And I showed y'all time and time again, you're just being fooled. It is imperative that each and every one of you still be able to recognize the signs of the time. Why? Why? The signs are there for you to understand and recognize. How are you going to have the power to tread on serpents and you don't even know what the serpent's doing? He gave you power to tread on them. He gave you power to have rule over them. And so why are we today so meek and so humble and we can't get anything accomplished? Well, I'm going to discuss that too. When it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, Matthew 16:2, Matthew 16:3. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. Oh, you hypocrites! You can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. Make no mistake about this, folks. The same diviners of the sky are among us today. They use it every time. It's a form of mockery, but it's also about their occult worship. That's why the numbers happen every time. I've showed y'all who actually writes the news stories for America. Let's do this together. The Board of Governors, located in Washington, D.C., is a federal government agency that is the Fed's centralized component. The board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. These governors guide and that's the Federal Reserve. I want the other one. I want the one that is. Oh man, what did I forget it? Hold on. I forgot it. There it is. No. Well, I hope somebody remembers what it is. That's the Board of Governors. There's a centralized power in the United States that puts every single bit of media on TV. And we've gone through this before. All the local news stations read from the same script about the Easter Bunny, about all these things, right? Here, let's do that. Let's just show. Here.
Oh, I've seen those videos before.
Well, yeah, it's just over and over again. Look, let's do this.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets
It's just over and over again. So where did they all get the script, folks? That's Fox, CNBC, MSNBC, I don't care which one. Where did they get the script from? It means there's a centralized place writing the script.
They used to have the fairness doctrine.
Well, yeah, but that's done and over with now. The same corporations own every company. Let's finish this up. The devil's always in the details, folks. Why do most people miss out on the details? One of the saddest truths of our time is the inability of men and women to think outside of their programming. And what's the programming? It starts from childhood. Then you go to the public education centers. They don't educate you about anything. They make you part of the public. And what's the public? A willing, subservient slave.
It's what to think, not how to think.
That's right. Never learn critical thinking skills. You know what? It's sad that most people have never had a single thought that was their own, that wasn't planted there by somebody else. You start seeing the patterns emerge, folks. These patterns are signatures. Patterns are signatures. Patterns tell you, if you follow the pattern, like the old adage, follow the money, that takes you back to who started it, right? Well, if you follow the signatures of who is running this system, and once you are able to see the patterns, you will start easily discerning whose signature it is. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we are fast approaching a period in time in which real worship of the Father and His Son, Yahushua, will be a thought crime. So yes, I will continue with the breakdown of man's codes and continue the processes needed to leave this vile system behind. And why is that? If it is His will, nothing will stop it. And I have full confidence in that. If I'm doing His will, nothing will stop it. I'm just a vessel underneath the potter's hand. Don't you ever forget it. All right, let's keep this going. I got 5 more slides. Tell the coming generation, Psalm 78:1. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Now, why is it so important to live under His law? We've discussed this ad nauseum. Why is it so important to live under His law? Because when you live under His law, your morality's in the right place. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. What's the dark sayings of old in this particular sense? The dark sayings are those that you have to think about to figure out. The parables, the proverbs, you have to think. Which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, and showing to the generation to come the praises of Yahuwah and His strength, and His wonderful works that He hath done. For He established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which He commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children. And what's the problem with this generation, and the previous 2 generations, and the previous 3 or 4 or 5, 6 generations in America? Not one church house is making known to their children the laws of Yahuwah. Not one. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably a few. But for the main portion of churchianity, they are not teaching the laws and commandments and statutes of the Most High. So what's the problem? Well, the children don't know. Well, what happens when the children don't know? There's a curse that comes with it. We've gone through that 100 times. Don't be stiff-necked, folks. Psalm 78:6, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in Yah, and not forget the works of Yah, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with Yahuwah. Now, what's the problem, folks? We live in such a disgusting and vile system now that even the truth itself is against the law or code, statutes. You can actually start losing your ability for life, liberty, and happiness because you tell the truth. That's some serious stuff, folks. YouTube deletion of my videos. Men and women get angry, and rightly so, about the Jew problem, as do I. If I have not been one that uncovered the Jew issue here, and who the Jew is, and what the Jew really is, then you've missed out. All 4 of my videos which were deleted were on Jewry. All 4 of them. But one thing that tribe does that we do not is what? What does the tribe of Jewry do that we do not? They stick together. So we're going to go back to this thought process, people. Good men and women don't recognize how evil really is. Nor do they understand that it is organized, well-funded, controlled, and they all have the same goals. What's the problem with Christianity or any other religion? They stick together. Yahuwah's people do not. And why not? One tiny difference in theology or thought processes deems you a heretic. All right, so let's say, for instance, I'm just giving an example. Michael says the rapture is coming. And I say the rapture is not. It's false doctrine, right? Well, now we can't talk anymore. And this is the mindset of most people within our ranks. They find petty little differences that split them up. Why is there 22,000 denominations and there's only one way? Anybody? There's only one way? How many denominations do we have of Christianity? 22,000 or 26,000, one of those humongous numbers. Who actually keeps splitting the bride of Christ? Your enemy, the adversary. Skin color is more important than what is inside. Let me tell y'all folks a secret. If you are called out, to be a child of Yahuwah, is he's going to reject you because of skin color? No, you've been called out. So this doctrine of and look, folks, I understand some of it matters. I agree. Race is important. We should stay within our races. That's why we were given races. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But listen to me. There's men and women in my family that I wouldn't have sit at my table. And yet there's men and women of other races I would love to have sit at my table and eat sup with and break bread with. Not one comment from YouTube on lies, slandering, or false information that could be proven to not be true, but only hate speech. You are in 1984, folks, and what do I mean by you're in 1984? Quit thinking it is coming, it is here. Algorithms are now choosing what we can say and what we cannot do. And what are we going to do? We're going to blame it on the algorithms. Right? Well, it's the algorithm's fault. We're going to go in and change it. Who's controlling the algorithms, folks? Don't think it's something that it isn't. Men and women are writing the code for the machines. Technology watches our every move, and psychopaths of Jewry and of the Vatican are running the show for their master, Satan. I'm going to give people a couple new words today. Always within the language. Dulocracy, a government where servants and slaves have so much license and privilege that they domineer or be lord. Predominance of slaves. What's a dulocracy? The slaves get licenses. The slaves get privileges, but they're completely controlled. A kakistocracy. A kakistocracy is a system of government that is run by the worst, least qualified, or most unscrupulous citizens. This is for those who want to go do a little word searching. You'll find that the root word, L-O-Q-U, is a Latin root for speech or words, circumlocuous, referring to someone who is using excessive language to evade a question, to obscure the truth, or to change the subject. That's what lawyers do. They circumnavigate. That was the word I was looking for last week that I couldn't pronounce when I was talking about the circular reasoning. It's circumlocuous, loquacious. And it's what men and women do when you start reading these law books and everything else. You start reading case laws, you'll just see a big old circle. Big old circle. Just something to go look into. I would advise that you go pull up the root word L-O-Q-U and start seeing how many words in the English language has this root word in it. Colloquial, there's all kind of words in it. Hey, look, folks, we're ambassadors for righteousness. That's the whole point of this video today. Kingdom of heaven is within. And we're called to shine as light in the darkness. I'm going to tell you, folks, it's getting pretty doggone dim. My domicile isn't the U.S. Incorporated. I am an ambassador of righteousness in a land of lawlessness, seeking the kingdom of Yahuwah, governed by the Messiah Yahusha, and the pathway that he showed us. I hope this study blesses those who needed to hear it. Folks, don't forget this. This is a very simple scripture, 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Let's bow our head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for anointing me with this message. Let your seed fall on good ground. Let your word not return unto thee void, but let it accomplish that which you please and prosper in the thing where you send it.